How's it going, my fellow parents? Hey, Jordan and I are here. Jordan and I, we are girl dads, and we have a really important episode prepared for you today. I've been researching this for several weeks, and I'm just pretty pumped to be here with one of my favorite people in the whole world, Jordan, and we're going to share some really good stuff about how to parent girls, how to be the best parent of daughters that we can be, how to understand their minds, their psychology, their culture. Jordan, tell me something that you love about being a girl dad.
Dude, I love being able to have a daughter. I mean, and I first got to add, like, you're not only the parent coach expert, but you're like the parent coach expert on having girls, because you are the girl dad, dude. I mean, it's so funny because I'll tell you what I enjoy most about it in a second. Yeah. But you know that term, like, I'm a girl dad. It's almost like an extra shiny star. It's like, oh, you got kids? Oh, you got 3 kids? Cool. But it's like, oh, you got kids? Oh, you have daughters only. And it's like this extra layer of like, touche, brother. Like, good job. Way to go. We know how to. And I think that's the same for moms with a bunch of boys. It's like, oh, you have yeah. My gosh. You know what I'm saying?
Agree.
I think it can go both ways.
I agree.
For me, I'm lucky enough to have boys and girls, but I do have one daughter. And having the daughter was the coolest moment. Like, I love having kids, but like having a daughter pulled at my heartstrings immediately that I never knew I had there. And I think it's cool because as she gets older, you know, and I'm learning how to be a cool dad, it keeps me soft in a way. Yes. Like, it keeps me more in tune with emotions rather than being like just like a butch, grow up, you know, kick the dirt off, you're fine. I can actually get into the weeds a little bit, which I'm going to be honest, dude. It can be frustrating. It can be hard for me as a guy who's logical, but you know what? It helps me be more real. So that's mine. What about you, man? You've been in this for a long time.
I have.
You just keep having a girl. Oh, let's have another girl. Oh, we got another girl.
I know. I love what you said there. I really, I love what you just said. I just had, kind of flashbacks, and I totally agree. You know, having girls when you're a dad just keep you that heart softened and sensitive. I got a couple stories of something that just happened yesterday that I'll tell you later. I think one of the things I love about being a girl dad is, like, I look at my 9-year-old, who's our youngest, and just yesterday she was hurting emotionally and she was going through something, and she just came to me and she was whining and hurt, and she just kind of like melted into my arms. She just wanted a big hug.
Yeah.
We went out to the Yard House dinner last night, and she got up and she stood up and she kind of just flops her whole body right on me because she wants to sit on my lap.
That's cool.
And I just look at my 16-year-old, my 21-year-old aren't doing that, which is normal. But I'm like, you know what? They do other things that just this feminine spirit and just sweet things that only girls and daughters can do. It just is so nice.
That's so good. Okay, now let's be real and talk about what we hate about it. Can I talk a second about how dirty the bathroom is all the time?
Oh, my gosh. The makeup, the Sephora runs.
Oh, my
the
goodness.
stealing of my hangers. So here's what we're going to do today.
That's so funny.
I found so much research on daughters, so much good stuff. We could have done like a 5-part episode on daughters, but here's what we decided to do. I think you're really going to like this, everyone. We're going to start off our episode by doing like a quick fire. Fire, 5 things you kind of already know about daughters. You've heard this. This is just like a little recap to get you thinking about their minds, about your parenting, about your relationship with them. And then after we tell you these 5 things you kind of already know, then we're going to tell you 5 things that are really interesting. Like in my deep research, things I found that are worthy of a pause, worthy of a latte. Like, let's sit down and have a latte together through a podcast.
I like it.
Just kind of simmer
I
on that.
kind of want one right now.
Oh, yeah.
Give me one of those. No, that's so
I got
true.
my cold brew right here, man. That's they're so important. You've got to simmer and not rush through that and think deeply about these 5 things. So, can we get started? Let's do a quick quick fire round.
That leads us to our first point here, which a lot of us know this, but we need to say it. Girls are more likely to express their emotions, their feelings verbally to us, right? And here's the big thing, though, right? We can't just look past it. As parents, as dads, we need to almost stew in it with them a little bit. They're not being dramatic, even though sometimes I could think that's immediately what they're going towards. All right, this is more of their emotional processing, and talking it out is important. For us guys, we just figure it out in our heads, or we just forget it all together and like, oh, I don't know what I was mad at. But for girls, it's like they need to talk about this, and they need someone to talk about it with.
Well said. You know what's interesting? Point number 2 here is boys, when they have stress, when they have problems, they're more likely to externalize their stress by acting out, by risk-taking, by bothering people. Does that make sense? So,
yeah, that does make sense.
But girls, on the other hand, they're more prone to not only to do what Jordan just said, which is to, talk about it and verbalize, but they're also more prone to internalize it, that having anxiety, sadness, self-criticism. So you might look at your son who's acting out or bothering people and be like, oh, this kid's going through something. And you look at your daughter and you don't know this. You can't tell because inside there's anxiety, sadness, self-criticism, worry, hurt. That is complex.
That is. Another thing, too, it's so cool for me because I'm a twin dad. I have a boy and I have a girl. And watching them age at the same time, but emotionally different, is hilarious.
Right.
Right? So, like, for my daughter, for girls, their self-worth, their appearance, that pressure to look good is super strong at such younger age. Meanwhile, I can't get my dang son to brush his dang teeth or take his clothes and wash them. It's like, dude, how many days have you been wearing those pants, right? It's like, oh, I don't care. If they don't like me for who I am, I don't need to be friends with them. But it's like, okay, I get it. You're right. You're not wrong.
Right.
But you also have to clean up, bro.
Right.
And so the bad about this, though, is the girls get those, let's say, body image concerns sooner rather than later, right? They're comparing themselves to maybe unrealistic goals. They're feeling the pressure to meet expectations maybe that they're seeing on social media, which we're going to talk about social media a lot. And that's one of the big reasons why we say hold off on social media as long as possible till at least part of high school. Yeah,
well, that actually leads us to quick fire point number 4. We've heard a lot in the news. We've already heard all this about how this generation, Gen Z, Gen Alpha now, they have some of the worst stats we've ever seen. They have some great stats, but they are more anxious and they're more depressed than any other generation. And so studies show that of this generation, it's the girls, it's our daughters we need to be most concerned about because they are twice as likely to develop anxiety and depression symptoms during adolescence compared to boys. Why? Well, it's what we talked about. They're more inclined to ruminate, internalize stress, peer relationship, and challenges. Now, hang on tight because what we're going to do is not just report on these things today. I'm going to give you some action steps as a parent, some do's and some don'ts, some tools, some scripts on what to do about this. This is what I do for all of my VIP clients because they get to meet with me on live Zoom calls 3 times a week. They get my private cell phone number when I'm going to do some of this here today on this general topic. All right, what's quick fire point number 5?
I mean, the last thing, we've kind of touched on it a lot, but it's that social media self-comparison, right? So, you're going through, you're looking at what other people are doing, and social media, as you know, it just shows you your own highlight reel. And so everyone thinks someone else's life is perfect, and why isn't my life that way? So then you get into the dissatisfaction of why your body's looking like the way it is. You got to remember, kids are going through puberty. That we're going to talk about that. They're changing the way of going from a young lady or a kid to a young lady to an adult, right? That process, it can be very troublesome and hard and weird and awkward. And so it leads to that social anxiety. But, a lot of us know this, right? So us as parents, we kind of maybe have seen this. And maybe if you're a brand new parent, you're going to see it. It's okay, right? We all go through this. But it's making me think of my daughter, right? Maybe, Sean, it's making you think of your daughters. It definitely is making me think the difference between boys and girls and how we have to be very unique and thoughtful about how we're parenting them. So let's go into the deep stuff. You said you did some research. You said you spent 3 weeks looking at some of this data.
I do. I started preparing for this weeks ago, just thinking about it, observing my daughters, just seeing which is the most compelling. What are some of the most interesting? Because I got so much, and I narrowed it down to 5. 5, I think, the most important, interesting, compelling things that we want to know about daughters. All right, here's our first one, okay? I'm going to read it real slow, and then we'll chat about it. All right. And I got a little antidote that I just thought of right now that I want to explain this. Here we go. Some studies, everybody, not all studies, some studies show that our daughters are forming their self-identity, because, I love to talk about that. They're forming their identity through their peers more than through their parents. Okay? Take a second, think
So they're
about that.
looking at others and judging themselves, or trying to maybe turn themselves into something from their peers versus learning from their parents and turning themselves into what their parents would think they should be.
Essentially what some studies are showing, it's like, hey, they care more about their friends than they do their parents. Let me explain. As girls move into the teen years, their sense of self and identity becomes strongly tied to peer relationships and belonging, often even more than attachment with their parents. Studies show that strong peer bonds correlate with healthier identity development, self-esteem, and social stability. And this dynamic may be more pronounced in girls more than boys, which means that a daughter's friend group isn't just social, it's identity forming.
Do you think, I know this happens with guys, boys too. It happened with me. I just wanted to be, everyone wants to be loved. Everyone wants to be liked. You are already loved and liked by your parents, so I don't really have to get their approval. They already approve of me. So if my friends have their pants sagging and, this is what we did in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
And maybe I need to do that so that I get liked by them. I need to dress like them. I need to say words that they're using so they think I'm cool.
So true. So we already know this is true, but we got to slow it down and really break it down for a second. Right, because what you're saying is true. You and I did the same thing. When we had our little clique back in high school, we dressed the same, we talked the same, we wanted to click. If you went to college, you might have taken Psychology 101, and just a little flashback to Erik Erikson's or Maslow's hierarchy of needs. What's interesting about child psychology is that during this teenage years, it really makes sense that the one of the main questions that a child is asking is, who is my clique? Who am I known as? What do people see me as? Who do I want to be known as? Now, this often changes around age 18, which is senior year, which is why you see so many seniors saying, I don't want to be a part of my clique. I want to stand out. I want to be different than this clique. But this is a little bit, we should pause on this, because is this really what we want? Just hear me out. Just take a breath, everybody. Is that really what we want? Do we want our daughters?
But we can't. Can we control
That's
that?
what we're talking about. Yeah, let's ask the family coach. Let's talk about it. Is that really what we want? Do we want our daughters' friends having more impact on them than us, saying the same thing in a different way?
Right.
Do we really want our daughter getting their life advice from a bunch of 14-year-old girls?
Not the big stuff, but I also want them to go through their own self morphing, if you will, right? It's morphin' time.
Right.
They're self, they're growing and they're trying to figure out what's good, what's bad. I can't be the one to tell them that all the time.
That's it.
So,
it's true.
But the big stuff, you definitely don't want them learning some of the stuff that their friends are doing at a certain age.
Let's everyone go back into a time machine and think back of where your ancestors were raised. All right, so think back to Argentina, think back to Africa, think back to Australia. In my case, think back to Ireland and England. Think back to ancient China, and try to imagine how your ancestors were living a couple hundred years ago. It makes you wonder, is that same stat that we just read, do you think it's true about kids 200 years ago than it is today?
That they are getting influenced by their social peers versus their families? Well, no, I would say the family dynamic was probably stronger 200 years ago. I could be wrong, but...
That's what I'm prone to think, too. That it hasn't always been this way. It makes me wonder, at what age or what happened in our society, in our homes, where kids cared more about their friends than their parents? Why is it? Is that the case in every home? Is that the case in every home? Is there a chance that we can have a home where our kids actually care more about what we think and our values than they do their friends? I'm just asking.
Yeah, and
the
I think the
questions.
American culture too is more individualistic. Be your own person. Figure out. You don't need to. And in other cultures,
Yes.
it's no. You're part of this family,
So
and you don't want to
true.
disappoint the family.
Right, buddy. Right, like COVID for our family was so amazing and positive. We watched TV together every night. We watched This Is Us. We bought a pontoon. We were on the lake 2 times a week. We spent so much time together laughing, and I can't speak for my kids, but I feel like our kids got through this and all the social isolation because of the family. Like we got through it together.
Yeah.
The grandparents were very involved, you know? And
You know what I notice with my kids when they are, okay, let's put it this way. 'Cause when we haven't done like a family trip, just us five in a long period of time, like a stretch, I notice attitudes. I notice not as much thought on, with the siblings. I notice a lot more of like, they're becoming their own person and they're fading away. And then when we do like a family trip,
Yes.
it brings it all back because we just have to rely on ourselves, which is basically what you're saying. During COVID, we had to just rely on ourselves. We couldn't rely on outside forces. And so we were really tight.
Right.
And I would always argue it's so important to do things with just your family so that you realize what is that rock that's holding this foundation steady.
I could tell you detailed stories about how my 21-year-old and my 16-year-old have broken up with people that were dating and broken up with friends. And I could tell you that part of the reason why they broke up is because they're like, I feel like they're kind of like going down a bad path and I need to separate myself from them.
Well, that's amazing. They came to that realization on their own?
So that makes you wonder. I'm not coming up with big research or stats right now, but just with this little story that I'm just telling here, which not a lot of detail in the story, isn't that proof that like how a parent and a parents can have more impact than on a friends? Because if my kids were so immersed in these friends, when they just follow them down that downtown, what happened inside these kids that made them want to
That's a good
break
point.
up, right, with a bad friend,
Yeah.
right, or a shady friend? So
Did you ever get into the weeds on that at all?
oh, definitely.
Okay.
And
all right. And would you don't have to tell us a story, but is the outcome because of the strong family dynamic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because the kids
I'm assuming
not,
that's the case too.
I'm
but
not going
just
down this
asking.
path. I don't want to go do this. I don't feel the
Because-
same way.
Yeah,
Because that's
but-
not always
Okay, so let me ask this. Hold on.
Yeah.
There's an elephant in the room here. Because a lot of people could be listening to this saying, well, like, you can't tell your kids who and who not to be friends with. But then you have another side, be like, well, sure I can. I can tell
Yeah.
them who I like them being friends with and who I think is a bad influence on them.
You sure can.
Did you ever go and say, I forbid you to be friends with this person? Right?
Almost. Let's see. Almost on one. But essentially what happened, and one of the main stories was that one of the teenagers says, well, I said, well, what's going up? I haven't seen this friend or this friend for a while. Oh, I don't want to be friends with them anymore. Well, why not? And then they told us why. I'm like, wow.
Wow.
So see, this is why I think we just kind of want to cast a vision for all of us here. We have to identify and recognize the power of our friends, of our kids' friends group. Check. 2, we have to not just lay over and say, oh, okay, well, I'm just a parent. I don't have any power here. That's ridiculous. We need to kind of have a goal. How do I parent and lead my family in a way so that I recognize the power of my kids' friends group? I point them in a direction to make sure they choose good friends. I nurture their good friends. I maybe am wise to intervene on negative friendships, but ultimately I realize how powerful I am, and my goal is to parent my kids and lead my family in a way so my kids care about more of this family than they do a 14-year-old who's trying to, right?
Right.
Is that
So
weird? Is that good? Does that sound good to you?
No.
Does that sound healthy?
It does, as you say it this way, depending on how we go about it, right? So my question
well
as
said.
we go into like what we do, because let me think about this for a second. You're not going to want to do Jordan's method, and I'm totally making this up right now, but here's the other side. Okay, family, here's the deal. Anybody you want to be friends with, you come and ask me first. If I say yes, you can. If I say no,
some
you
parents
can't.
do that.
Right?
Yeah,
Of
I have to
course
get to
they
know
do.
their parents. Who are they?
Of course.
Yeah, that is so weird.
Right.
That's not what we're talking about. Well, I like this. I like where you're going with this. I didn't know
Yeah,
their parents.
so
You can't
there's
go
a
over their
good way to
house
do
until I
it.
check with them. Right? It's like, that's just such a common thing. It's too much. Yeah.
How do we do it to where in your case, your daughter came to that realization on her own without Sean Donohue saying, you cannot be friends with this person. They are bad for you and the family.
Okay, yeah.
Right? There's a way to do it to where the kid has the confidence to do it themselves.
Well, we could do a whole episode on this, and maybe we should. How do you, it would be entitled something like this: how do you guide your child into healthy friendships? In a whole different episode called how do you intervene in your child's life when they're wrapped up with bad friendships or a bad boyfriend or girlfriend. That's a complicated topic.
That is so complicated.
There are tools for that, but here's some general really good advice. I think it's good. Tell me what you think about it. Is that you gotta realize that your children are choosing friends based on a complex psychological, like personalized system. And if you just come out hot and you start judging these kids because you don't like them, your kid is just going to be like, you're not really for me. You're not even taking the time to get to know my friends. You're judging me. So you've got to lay a foundation of like listening. I want to listen. What's going on with your friends? What's going on with your new boyfriend? What are you guys doing? Because if you start reacting based on what you're hearing, if you start reacting with lectures, pep talks, with, no, you can't go over there, don't you think that most teenagers are going to be like, oh, no, I'm not going to talk to you about it then?
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Or they're going to defy your. They're going to start lying to you. Of course, you can't put those stipulations on it unless you don't care about your relationship with your daughter, because it's just going to break everything apart. Yeah.
So you have to have foundation of trust and listening, and a good open communication if you want to do any type of guiding. It's almost like saying this: if you're taking notes at home, you should write this down. You've got to earn the right to be heard.
Ooh, I like that for a second. Well, what do you mean, Sean? Of course I've earned the right. I held them in my womb for 9 months. I birthed them. I've fed them. I've housed them. I've clothed them for the last 12 years. I have earned the right. You can't tell me that I haven't earned the right. I've done all this to earn the right.
Doesn't work that way with teenagers anymore.
They need to respect me by asking me if it's okay if X, Y, or Z.
Doesn't work that way with kids.
Well, this is complicated. No one told me this before I had kids.
Yeah. You got to earn the right to be heard. You want to have a voice in their life, you got to earn the right to be heard. Here's an interesting fact on this topic. Girls experience social exclusion as intensely as physical pain. According to neuroscience research, the brain lights up in similar regions for both. So what that means is that your daughter is naturally going to want to bond so much with other girls. So much. And that bonding could be done in a healthy way or with healthy kids or unhealthy. And she's going to go through physical pain because this is going to be hard for her. So the question that you need to ask yourself is, are you going to be there for her? Are you going to be her soft pillow? Are you going to be her counselor? Are you going to be someone who loves her? Because the research says that her stress hormone, her cortisol levels, are going to go through a lot of stuff through this social stress. And she's either going to deal with it on her own, or you're going to be there to help guide her. That's the gist of point number one. I think we should move on to interesting point number two.
All right, and this one is going to be maybe even a little deeper and tougher to talk about. That one was very deep, starting off just with a bang. But now we're moving into the stage of life. We're going to be talking about puberty for a second, because this is a huge transition in everybody's lives. But with girls, they tend to be at risk, emotionally specifically, way before boys hit the same pressure, okay? And we kind of touched on this in the beginning, but we typically know from studies in general, just look at society, girls hit puberty sooner than boys. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, this phase that they're going through, they're becoming sensitive to peer pressure, right? They are being impacted by their friends and decisions. They are looking at other people. What does their body look like? How are they acting in a situation like this? Maybe I should mimic them, right? Mm-hmm. In these social circles that they're in, they're probably eyeing each other up, thinking, where do I fit in this circle? And how do I compare to some of my friends? And ultimately what that means is if you don't have a healthy person, that can lead, as you mentioned earlier, to earlier depression, right? Or depression in general, anxiety, stress, this early maturing stage that they go through. means that they're going to go through disapproval faster. It's honestly, it sucks. Like, I feel so bad, you know? Like,
Yeah.
even my wife, she'll say it all the
Yes.
time. She's like, you're so lucky you're not a girl. You know? You're so lucky you don't have to go through this. You don't have to go through that. And I'm so glad I have her to help me because I am lost. I'm just like, I don't even know
I feel lost
what
too.
my role is or what my place is.
I feel lost too sometimes. Yep.
You know? I mean,
Yeah, I
for
know.
us, for guys in general,
I
we're more
know.
logic. We're more like, here's the
Right.
answer. Let me fix this. Wait, you're
Right.
having a problem with Susie? Let me go talk to Susie. No, Dad, you can't talk to her. What are you talking about? She made you cry. I'm going to go talk to her right now. No, it's this game we have to play of like, I have to pretend she didn't impact me. And then I have to put on this front. I'm like, this is so complicated. But it's part of that process. It's part of growing up. It's part of school, unfortunately. Like dealing with popularity and am I allowed to be that or am I not worth that? And they're constantly asking these questions in their mind. And I think it goes back to what you're saying. It's so important that we're there as parents to help them and guide them go through this process. Was it hard for you? Just getting back to more on your personal journey, because I would anticipate your wife was just like, it was so easy for her. And for you, you had to do a lot of learning about how to go through these stages. At least that's the way it is for me.
Yeah. And I say this to just put a smile on everyone's face. Yeah, it was hard, and it is hard. And I'm the family coach, right?
Yeah.
So if it's hard
Yeah,
for
that's a good
me,
point.
who reads research on this stuff, who's just been, trying to be immersed in the world of like child psychology for 20 years. Yeah, like here's something to think about. I remember speaking about social media and cell phones like 15 years ago. And I remember, I would say things like this. We're going to learn so much about this in the next 10, 15 years. Research is going to be coming out, and we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
And when we think about puberty, what we know now is very, very important. We're learning that we already know that the female brain is, and the hormones that she's going to experience between that 11 and 14-year-old phase is going to be immense. And we know now from research that when you throw social media into that girl's brain, bad things are going to happen.
Yeah.
Very, very
And
bad things are going to happen when you give a prepubescent or girl who's going through puberty social media. The comparison, the distress, the confusion, the screen time, the obsession, the brain cannot handle it. And I need to make it clear with this because millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of parents have ignored this advice. And they have a 14-year-old or younger right now, and she has social media access, and it's not advised.
Right. You may be one of those parents listening right now. Like, I gave my kid a phone at 12, and they started a TikTok, YouTube, whatever the account is. So my question to those people that are listening, what are you doing about it? Because we really can't put our head in the sand and just be like, oh, it's fine. She's probably being responsible, not really direct messaging weirdos or anything. Or even if it's a son, he's probably not bullying anybody or saying anything mean. So
Here's what I would
now
predict. I have a crystal ball right here. Let me look into it, even though
Yeah.
I'm not into that stuff.
Okay.
So you're going to start having some pretty huge issues with this girl somewhere around age 14.
Yeah.
That's just probably going to happen if you have a tween or a young teen who has social media.
Yeah.
And you're either going to be aware of that because you're going to catch her doing that, or
Okay.
she's going to be doing it secretly. But I just tell you, that girl is going to be making some bad choices and having some pretty serious issues. You're either in the loop or you're out of the loop. You want to be in the loop. Number two, do what Jordan said 20 minutes ago. You want to postpone social media as much as possible. Do what the experts tell you. No social media until age 16 at the earliest. If your kid does have access to YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok, or a phone, you want to make sure you got that thing locked down. You have parental monitors on it. You have blocking. You have a
good.
system in your house. I can pick up your phone at any minute, and this is the rules. You also need to be aware of group chats. Group chats can be so toxic.
Dude, we
So-
just had a huge
Yeah.
group chat go
Yeah.
out of control at my kid's school
Out of
just
control,
last
bro.
week.
Dude, the group chats are no good. No
No
good. They are no good. They can Kids cannot handle group chats.
Yeah.
And then here's some deeper stuff. And if you want to go deeper with me, well, then call me. I'll do this stuff with you directly about your kid. Again, going back to this, how do we parent in a way so that our voices are more important than friends? How do we speak identity into our kids? How do we emotion coach our kids? How do we guide their self-talk? How can we model good things for them? This is the goal of kind of what we need to do on a daily basis. Now, I'm not going to coach you right now on a podcast on how to do that.
No,
that's a time for
it's good direction, though.
But that's like point you in that direction. Your goal is to speak identities, emotion coach, guide, mentor. So can we go on to number 3?
Please.
All right. So this is really interesting. Okay. So when we were growing up, we'd never really heard the term like gender norms, right?
True.
Or
No,
gender stereotypes.
Right.
Like this is the boys section, this is the girls section. And there's been a lot of talk around this over the last 10 years. There's been a lot of confusion, a lot of anger, a lot of this and a lot of there's some good stuff that's come out of these conversations. There's some weird stuff. Politics have gotten involved, all this stuff. So I'm here to just report something interesting is that girls often internalize gender stereotypes early. Let me say it again. Okay. So little girls, they often internalize gender stereotypes very early, believing that traits are innate, not learned. Hear me out. So the whole concept that we've been told for the last 10 years is that, it's a culture that is telling girls only wear pink and boys only play with trucks. Right. And that's all culture based. But
dude, I could see that as soon as the kid turns 1.
Right.
And no influence at all.
Right.
But anyway, go ahead.
So that's what I'm here to report is that there is absolutely research. Psychological research has revealed that even 5 and 6-year-old children assume gender differences are natural essences, meaning that they think traits like girls like dolls or boys like trucks are biologically fixed and they're not socially taught. This is striking because it shows the power of gender norms with shaping thought before logical reasoning develops. So,
well, dude, that makes sense. Like if you were to just look at a boy's brain versus a girl's brain and do studies on the brain only, don't know anything else about it, there are fundamental differences about how they think, whether they're going to lean towards art, whether they're going to lean towards science. There's just, when you look at humankind since it started, this is already there.
Let me describe an amazing video I saw on Instagram just yesterday. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see this page pop up because sometimes I repost videos that I like. And so it's this video of this, what's it called? I think the caption on the top says like parenting boys versus girls. And it shows these 2 little boys and in their bedroom. And one is wearing a full-on Spider-Man mask and Spider-Man outfit. You can't see their faces. And then the other little boy, probably around age 4, is wearing a full-on Hulk outfit. You can't see their faces. And they're punching each other. They're wrestling. They are going nuts, right? And it has like this rage rock music going on, right? So then the camera, and then the camera, it slowly pans from their bedroom door because they have bunk beds. So it's the same shot into the little girl's room, and the music is the same family, same shot, and the little girl who looks like she's about the same age, the music changes. She's wearing like a Disney princess outfit. She's combing the doll's hair and holding it like a baby.
And being sweet. Yes! Right. Being all sweet. Dude, that is the classic difference in my household, what it's been like. Everyone says, oh my gosh, you have twins. That must be amazing. This must be so similar. I'm like, absolutely not. One's a boy and one's a girl. They are completely different. That shot you experienced right there is what I've gone through for the last 12 years. Totally. That is so good.
So let me, can I give you guys some tips on this point? Okay, let me give some tips, okay? So one of my best buddies, he's a fireman, and his niece is now a firewoman. So
cool.
She's 19 years old, and she's a firewoman.
That's amazing.
It's amazing.
That's early. Yeah.
I know. Like
They have a 20-year retirement plan. She can be retired.
I know.
Soon.
I mean,
Like, she won't be 40.
she's beautiful. She's wonderful. She's feminine. She's strong, and she's a great firewoman. She's super organized, and
It's awesome.
What a great woman. So, and then we also know for a fact that there's many women that have amazing careers in very careers that are more typically men, right? I mean, there's millions and millions of amazing police women. There's and then of course there's also women who are plumbers, bricklayers, mechanics, right? Don't you agree? This is it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. The numbers are much smaller than men, but they're still there. Is what you're saying?
still there. So
still there.
here's something that I want you to think about. Okay, here's just a great tip. You've got to parent the child you have, not the child you want.
Okay.
So when your teenager is telling you, hey, I don't really want to play with dolls, I maybe want to join the wrestling team, or I want to become a firewoman. Yeah, this is the time for you to just really take a breath and be like, how do I kind of adapt myself to be the best parent I can? Because I want to guide my kid into good, normal, healthy things. But if your daughter is resisting things like sports or STEM or resisting things like being strong and assertive in a certain area, it doesn't mean that she's a bad daughter or there's anything wrong with her.
Right. That's a good point.
Right?
What's interesting is my daughter will actually want to do more guy stuff with me than my son will. So like, hey guys, you want to go with me? Let's say hiking in the woods. My daughter will be like, I will. But my son's like, nah.
Yeah.
Right? Or like, let's say I'm working on the truck. Hey,
Yeah.
Dad, can I come see what you're
Cool,
doing,
yeah.
helping out? It's cool. You know,
Yeah, man.
it's totally cool. It's cool to have at least one kid, right, who's interested in that. You've talked about on the podcast before how, like, to connect with your daughter, you had to, like, play dolls all the time. And not all the time did you want to play dolls,
so
but
many
you
dolls.
did it
Many
to
dolls.
connect.
Still playing
But
dolls.
it's also cool when the kid wants to connect with the parent or the dad in the situation and does some of the good stuff that we like to do. That's cool, too.
I've talked about this story a lot, and I even did a post on it recently about how when my oldest just turned 21, we went to Napa for the day. It was wonderful. She's down in San Diego with some friends on vacation, just living it up to her 21st birthday. But I remember when she was 16, we got her into a Toyota RAV4. Long story short, the rains hit, and the windshield wiper was not working. So she just comes to me, hey, Dad, my windshield wiper breaks. And I thought I was doing a good thing because I'm trying to raise a strong, independent woman. I said, okay, well, go buy one, and you can put it on yourself, and I'll go down and show you how to do it. I thought that was a good parenting move. And I told this.
Yeah, you're trying to teach someone that, like, if, you know, let's say, God forbid, in a couple of years, she got a flat tire
Right.
in a different state, and you can't help her. You
Right.
got to sometimes you got to figure out how to do this on your own.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm on board.
Yeah, so I'm trying to raise strong, independent women who are problem solvers and you know, and understand, like, hey, this is how you got to survive, right? And this is your car. You got to take care of it.
Right.
And I told the story. This is not a good version of the story of how that was a huge miss with her, a huge miss in my parenting. And the message I got from her and from my wife, who helped me understand this, is that raising daughters is really confusing because on one hand, you want to raise strong, independent women. But on the other hand, like, I'm her dad. And she wants to be able to rely on me. And
It's so sad. It's
care-
like, Sean, you were supposed to protect her in this
Right,
moment. You
and-
let her out to the wolves.
right, and do things for her she doesn't have to do because she's a woman and I'm her dad, and I could have just done that instead, and I don't have to rely. She does so much other stuff, so it's like this balance and this kind of confusion with how do we as men especially, like, love and protect our daughters, be masculine and help them feel like princesses, but also at the same time raise strong, independent women who, you know, can take care of themselves.
Yeah. How'd you feel after that? We're like, gosh, I feel awful now. Did you just feel like the worst dad ever? Or were you like, or like me,
yeah.
like, don't
No.
make me feel bad that I'm trying to make my daughter do something for herself. You know, you could take that route too.
No, man, it was pretty bad. It was kind of
okay.
like, It was really bad. It was kind of
That
like,
sucks.
this is why I never ask you for help, Dad. Or I'm never going to ask you for
Ooh,
anything.
that burns.
I'm never going to
Oh,
help
that
you for
hurts.
anything again. Like,
Oh
I
my
do
gosh,
so
that
much, you
hurts
can't
so
even help me
bad.
with something. Like, forget about it. I'd rather not ask you anymore then. It was bad.
Dude, that's brutal.
It was a
That is
clear
so
message, like,
brutal.
this was a miss. And also when you add in, like, we all have these 5 love languages. And one of her love languages is acts of service. So it's like, Dad, will you love
Whoops.
me? It's like, oops.
That's such a bummer.
All right, so
That's a great story. Okay, let's go to number 4 here. We're almost done. It's just 5 topics, you guys. This one is going to be short and quick, but I want to add some comedy in here to something that's very real. All right, so we know girls interpret things. We talked about that. They think about things, they dwell on things, they talk about their emotions, right? So girls are more likely to interpret ambiguous social cues negatively. Let me give you a funny example, but talk about a real life scenario. It's dinner time. Let's eat, Grandma. Think about that for a second. Okay, just that sentence. Let's say I text that to you. It's
let's
dinner time.
eat grandma?
Let's eat, Grandma.
What do you mean, let's eat
you got-
grandma?
Let's eat, Grandma. It's dinner time. Let's eat, comma, Grandma. Like it's time to eat, Grandma.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Or in this situation, I say the same thing. It's dinner time, comma, let's eat, Grandma. Okay? So just think about this. Right? It's so silly, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's so silly. Okay,
Yeah.
it's a text. Imagine getting a text as a girl from Joanna, and the punctuation is wrong, and you didn't call her to ask her what she meant, and now you're sitting and stewing and dwelling on this. Well, did she mean it the way I read it? Do we really have to eat Grandma for dinner? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I didn't know where you were going with this. Now I do. Brilliant. Keep going.
So with girls specifically, they can interpret some of these social cues and dwell on it. You walk through a student classroom or a hall. You pass by someone that's popular. She looks at you and kind of rolls her eyes, but doesn't because she had something in her eye and you didn't talk. And now you're for 6th period and on, you're worrying, oh my gosh, what did I do? Because she just rolled her eyes at me. So with girls, they tend to look at some of these social cues and it impacts them negatively. So it happens
Really
with guys
good.
too. Don't get me wrong, but
Really
Sean,
good.
what do we do to help limit this in our daughters?
Before I tell you some things to do, I just got to give you a shout out. That was a great analogy. That was really interesting where you took that. Please tell me you've seen. I love the. So they're retired now, but it was a very famous show on Comedy Central called Key and Peele. Have you ever
they're
seen
the
the
best.
Key and Peele skit where they're texting back and forth with each other, and they totally misinterpret every single
Yes.
thing?
Yes.
Like
I
one
have.
guy's
That
like
is
real
so
casual.
funny.
Well, come over here, man. We'll work it out. He's like, oh yeah,
Right.
you want to come over? Oh yeah, we'll work it. I'll work you out. I'll work you out. Right?
Yes,
And they
that's so true.
So that's kind of what you're saying. So, what another way of saying the same thing Jordan said is that a daughter's mind is going to see negative things in the world more negatively, especially when it comes to social stuff. And they're going to want to talk about it and view things in a more negative way. And so the question for us parents is, what are we going to do about this since this is going to factually happen? Here's
Right.
what you don't do. You don't teach, shame, judge, and correct. You don't do that.
What do you mean we don't teach? Aren't we here to teach?
No, you're not at first.
Okay.
It's like that's like you coming up to me when I'm 13, and what is my brain thinking? My brain is thinking about sports all the time, and it's like you come up to me and say, "Hey, stop thinking about sports." I was like, "Why?
Right.
Why would I stop?" Well,
Right.
because it's not good. What do you mean? You see how ridiculous that sounds? That's like you going up, hey,
Yes.
don't stop looking at the world so negatively. What? Why? That's just not going to work, right?
Good point. Good point.
So I love the term like being a soft pillow, because when I hit my pillow last night, dude, I was in the zone, man. We got home. We celebrated a birthday last night. We were out late. Man, I hit that pillow, and I was like, yes. So
My son hits me with soft pillows and hard pillows all the time when he wants to do pillow fights. I'll tell you what, the soft pillow is way better.
So just realize, like, you want to be a sponge to just soak up her negative energy and just love her through it. You want to be a soft pillow, someone that she can just, find comfort in. And just accept that. That is part of what good parents do. They give about the time and the energy to listen without reacting, without teaching. There's a time and a place to teach, and there's a time and a place to just soak it up.
A 60-second role play for a second?
Sure, yeah.
Dad, when I walked to sixth period, Jessica kind of rolled her eyes at me, and I didn't know what I did. So, I feel like she doesn't like me. I don't feel right. This is so weird because she rolled her eyes at me.
Okay, just so you know, this is my life every day right here. By the way,
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, this is. I got two particularly that like to do this. Oh yeah. Oh shoot. What happened? She rolled her eyes. Why?
Well, I don't know. We were walking by. I didn't do anything. I was just walking by, and I gave her a little smile, and she just rolled her eyes.
Oh, that stinks. I hate when people roll their eyes at me.
Yeah, and now I think she's probably something happened. She's probably gonna tell everybody I did something wrong. I don't even know what I did wrong. I don't know what I should do.
Oh my gosh, I hate that. Gosh, that's the worst feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't want to go to school tomorrow. It's just awkward.
Oh, that was good. Yeah. I can understand that. I can understand why you wouldn't want to go to school. That's super awkward.
See, just pausing for a second, I'd be like, well, give me Jessica's number. I'll call her right now and ask her if she rolled her eyes at you. See, I'd want to fix it right then and there. And Sean's like, no, bro. We're not doing that. We're just going to validate her feelings. Okay.
Oh, this is what a lot of parents would do too. Run that line again about not going to school. Go for it. Say that line again.
It's just awkward. I don't even want to go to school tomorrow because she probably hates me.
Oh my gosh, do not say that. You're going to school. You're not going to let this bother you. What are you talking about? You're going to school. You have a big test tomorrow. Why would you even say that? You can't say that.
Yeah, because she's probably talking about all her friends
about
how she doesn't like me and I did something wrong.
Why are you doing this? Stop. You're making all this stuff in your head. Okay, you're going to school. She's your friend. Stop doing this to yourself. Come on. Now, seriously, your room's a mess. Go in your mess. Go clean your room and stop talking about this.
Dude, this is exactly how the conversation would go in my house.
Exactly what so many parents do. They're not a soft pillow. They're not a sponge. They get so triggered. But this is why the line was so brilliant by you. I don't feel like going to school tomorrow. This literally happens all the time. The kid will say, I'm not going to school tomorrow because they're just venting. They're just talking. They're just talking out of their butts to their favorite people because they're looking for a listener. Does anyone care about me here? Does anyone listen? And the answer, sadly, is no. Go clean your room and take your vitamins.
Oh my gosh, dude, that is so good. Okay, so I want to sum this up real quick because we have 0.5 to make. How do I get to okay, I'm validating your feelings, but telling her you're going crazy. You need to get over this rather quick. How do you get to that?
Remember, teaching moments don't normally happen in the moment. When your kid is sharing with you, emoting, talking about negative things, that's the time for you just to listen. And they often will just this is a good listening solves problems. There's a good chance by you just listening and being available, being a pillow, being a sponge, she'll be like, oh yeah, I feel better, thanks. Okay. These just talking.
Oh, okay.
That's the way it works. I do this. I've been doing this for 20 years. Very rarely do I need to solve a problem. Right. They're very rarely are they interested in getting any advice. They're just talking, man.
I got to stop the advice. That's my problem. I got to just listen and be there. That's so good. Okay, thank you for doing that for me.
Yeah, I try to make you laugh. If my kids, I'm a family coach, so if my kids don't listen to my advice, which is brilliant, then
it's the best. It's the only advice to take, by the way.
The best, better than anyone else's advice because I do this for a living. Well, then they can listen to your dumb advice. So just think of my voice next time your kid's emoting. I hear this a lot from my VIP members. It's such a great compliment. Sean, your voice is in my head. I was like, thank you. Thank you so much.
Good.
All right, number five. Number 5. Then we'll do a little recap. Okay. This is all in the same theme. Our daughters are more likely to experience relational peer harm, and it impacts their mental health deeply. This isn't trivial. Relational harm has been shown to predict negative views and even depressive symptoms. So I feel like that's kind of like everything we've been talking about in this. And so what do? Well, I told you what to do. Live in a way so you're setting a family value. In this family, it's family first. Your friends are going to come and go, but we're always going to be here for you. Always going to be here. We're going to listen to you. We're here to love you. We're here to step in and guide you if we feel like we need to intervene. But this is a place for you just to come and to emote. You got to emote the right way. You got to talk respectfully. And you can't just go around saying crazy, mean things to people. But yeah, that is it. They are going to go through serious internal and physical pain during these teen years. And so what are you going to do?
You know what's hard? The pain they go through, I can feel. And sometimes it brings up memories from when I was at that age. It's hard for parents too, you know?
I can't believe we went this whole freaking episode without talking about that. That hurts me physically when my kids
so bad.
When my kids are hurting like that with their friends. It hurts me. Like I feel like I'm being hurt.
Yeah.
It literally like physically gets pain in my body. I'm doing better with it now because I've been having to do it for 20 years when my kids talk about how their friends are leaving them out or their friends are bullying them.
Yeah.
That was so
I've gone through, I remember you mentioned that group chat and how we went through a situation. We went through a situation with the group chat tragedy last week. We don't let our kids in group chats, but we put our phone numbers on there so we can kind of monitor what the heck the kids are saying.
So wise.
And there was a situation that brought me back to, I think it was high school, and it brought me back to where it was a Nick Schleif story, right? It was a story.
It's a mutual friend, Nick Schleif. Shout out to you, Nick Schleif.
And it was very serious, and I had to tell him a situation that happened that was very similar. I'm like, this has real life consequences, and let's just say he can't breathe out of his nose clearly ever since he did that. But it was just like a moment where I had a flashback. And you're right. It can be tough as parents, but it can also be a learning tool if you do it the right way.
Man. Yeah, we have to love our kids in an appropriate way. We don't want to love them too little. That's not loving.
Right.
But we have to make sure we don't love them too much. What does that mean? Can you love a child too much? Of course not.
That's a good point.
But you can care too little about a child, but you can care too much. Right? Isn't that interesting? Because if you care too much, then you're going to be a big mess. Here's a little recap. Here's a few things. Ready? Here, let's do this. All right. 5 things to understand about your daughter. One is that some studies show that our girls are forming their self-identity more based on what their peers are saying about them in their peer group than their parents. Well, this can be normal and common. That is not what we want to do. We want to parent in a way so our kids care more about us and our family values and their family more than they do about what a 14-year-old thinks about them.
That's a good point. Going from a baby to a young kid to a young adult to an adult, there's a long process there. And within that process, it can be very difficult. Let's talk about puberty for a second. I know it can be awkward, but for girls, they're at risk more emotionally way before the boys are going through puberty with these similar pressures, okay? Body image problems, thinking about their peers, social norms, all of this happens at a sooner age. So you got to be on top of your game sooner rather than later with our girls.
Number 3 is really interesting is that our daughters are often internalized gender stereotypes. That's right. Gender roles and gender stereotypes much early. There's stats that even shows that around age 5 and 6, they are showing motherly signs, feminine signs, and that they are not learning this from society. This is just coming from them innately. So what do we do about that is remember this. You've got to parent the child you have, not the child you want. You've got to let your child kind of like be aware of their internal like goals and where they're kind of heading, and we've got to wisely adapt to that.
That's good. Girls are also more likely to interpret ambiguous social cues negatively. And this can be a problem. They can sit and dwell in it for a long time. And you as a parent sometimes want to correct it as soon as possible, but we urge you not to do that. Don't teach in that moment right away. We want you to listen to how they're feeling, be the safe place for them to talk to when maybe it's something that you think is ridiculous. To them, it's important. So let's make sure we're there for them so that they can trust us in all these big moments that happen in their life at different stages of life.
Studies show that our daughters actually experience physical pain when they are outcasted by a friend group or hurt by a friend. Their pain that they experience is very real when it comes to peer harm. And so we've got to be aware of that, and we want to be their soft pillow. We want to be their comforter. We want to be their guide, and we want to be there for them as they go through these challenges. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining Jordan and I in this journey into our daughters. We love you. We love being in your lives. Thanks for letting us share this with you. Share this podcast with somebody you love and you care about, and we'll see you next week.